And when you can make a humble step, you open new time for all the people and open new opportunity and for that you keep the risk of work a lot without result with the hope of produce some significant step, one single more step and another step and another step. When we start to build many years ago, I earned some money. One of my first work was a financial place, some financial office, and we earned $5,000. Wow! And we have two possibilities: build our own office or buy two computers, IBM computers. It's a very difficult moment, more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And finally, we choose build our office. But to build our office, we need more or less 100 square meters of spaces for work. And we have 5,000. For that, we need to build with $50 each square meter. And normally in Paraguay, a normal house, it costs $500 each square meter. I can give me the same answer, la misma respuesta, the same answer, what the discipline made to the people. Go again, earn more money, and when you have the necessary quantity, come with me and I make you a real good taste architecture with a marble forms. And during all this time, you live, how can you? Because I don't have answers for your demands. But that's impossible. We need to build with what we have surround us. And the first things, you have two ways. First of all, you need to use less material. When you use less material, the cost of the budget goes down. And the second time, when you see a budget, first is the material, and second is the procedures, the protocols. You must produce new protocols to reduce the quantity of labors, not the quantity, or to produce in a better way the capacity of the labors. Can you understand that? It's horrible, I know. My English is terrible. Sorry, Diane. Well, and for that, I start to do this. If you think in a wall, for example, in a wall structure, like a house, you can have a place like this, a single wall like a structure. And you can have here the window and here the door. And when appear, this can broke because it's a debilitation. Can say debilitation? How can say the whole? It's a less structure. It's less structural. Boeing. That's Boeing. Boeing structure. And for that, it's impossible to make holes when you use, for example, a very tiny wall like this. The problem is when you use weight here, appear the opportunity of the pandeo. It's a flexo compression forces. And the worst, la peor, worst thing. the worst thing you can do is open here a window, because it's the crash moment. But if you think in your window, not like a hole, but like a central beam, now you have a reinforcement. And now you can use a very tiny quantity of material using only 5 centimeters of brick like this. And here you use the central beam and only reduce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other bricks. And that's the sense of the central window, because it's not a window, it's not a hole, it's a beam, a central beam. And for that you can use now, because if you read about the possibility of use face-up ceramic tiles, it's forbidden use to receive weight, only to close some spaces, but not to receive weight. But if you put in the center the central beam, you can use for weight, you can support the roof, you can support everything with less material. That's. And for that, for example, all the interior of our last office are forrada, how can I say forrada? It's covered by low density wood. Now it's impossible to do this in Paraguay, because the good news is we stop in 99% the deforestation process of the forests of Paraguay. The bad news is he stopped because we don't have one single tree in all our country. And that's the reason finally. And for that, this is impossible to do now, but 20 years ago, we can use wood like this. And this is the center beam used to light the space like this. And okay. After of this, when we look the budget, we know when you use 1 brick like this versus 2 or 3 bricks like this, you reduce the quantity of brick and you reduce the quantity of mortar here against this and this and this, etc. But the problem is the time who spend the labors. Because if you see the planillas, how can I say planillas? If the cost of the labor, it costs exactly the same if you put like this or like this each square meter. Why? Because when you put face up the bricks wants to fall. And for that, they made slowly the wall. And for that, we start to lift the bricks on the floor like this and complete prefabricate panels of bricks. And we develop systems to trabazones, I don't know how can say trabazones, to not expose the same vertical connection between one panel and another, or when we use walls with some inclination, we can fix the panels with straws, and that's okay. It's very simple. Not like your tails. When you saw, for example, a small tail of the roof of the temples, okay, it's the same thing. One single panel support the other, and that's. Well, can understand why I say? Yes. ¿Sí? ¿Se entiende? ¿Se entiende, Carla, lo que digo? ¿Sí? Okay. This was the time when I used, look at me, wow. I have a wonderful Like you, Bornstrom. Okay. I was win a contest to, how can I say that, to reuse this industrial pre-existent structure, never ended, but they used this part of the construction to build the office, and then produce some contest. And the problem of Paraguay is the heat. Normally, you need to produce shades. Shades is our start command to make architecture. And how can you make shades with the less material possible and the less quantity of time and the less capacitation for the labor people? And when you see here the ground, you can see our failures. And how can we prefabricate pieces of wall down the ground, and then we face up. I have 1 meter and 93, more or less. For that, this panel have 2 meters and 40 centimeter high, more or less. And ancho, how can I say ancho? Width. The width is 4 centimeter at least. And we use the steel roof cover of all of this area to make some big space, and we develop new ways to produce panels using even the ceramic for make inertia. Sorry. And support biggest pieces of ceramic walls, like this. And with these central beams made exclusively by the bricks in the other sense, we can produce more than 3 meter high panels, and 2 people can lift the prefabricated panels like this. This is I really like to show this because this is the how can I say sombrero? The security hat for the labor. Under the security hat for the labor, he has 3 other hats to support the heat of the helmet. And he absolutely covered with the shirt, and still he smiled. It's amazing. And I remember he sang El Gato Volador, a famous song from the Flying Cat, It's the Gato Volador, sorry. And we imagine how can, with the same piece of wall, you develop system like when you make a bridge. Every single part of the bridge can support the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's not, you need to think in several other ways to produce the possibility of the labors. The labor have the ability of supination, pronation, rotation, and translation. They have everything. It's not the problem of the labor. The problem is the problem of the direction of the architects. They can make amazing things. You can imagine amazing ways to work together. That's our challenge. Make that kind of relations. And for that, we use panels, vertical and horizontal reinforcement, and et cetera, And finally, you can see how can we produce. Here, put first the horizontal panels, and then we leave using the panels in the other sense, like this. And when the structure is curated, we can leave all the frameworks, and the work is like this. 7-meter height of by 120 meters, made it by tiny panels, prefabricated like this, and we changed all of the interior of the previously fabric, and we put 3 spaces for shadows and for air and everything. And when you get into the sadomasochistic room, like this, because all the bricks are broken. Because our brick is not like the England brick. You know, when bricks appears on South America, they come from in the ships, like weight. ¿Cómo se dice? Lastre. How can I say lastre? Ballast of the, and come from England, appear, for example, in Ecuador, and they put again cereals, metals, and everything, and go again, and then become again with bricks. But our bricks, there aren't the England bricks. Our bricks are more, how can I say that? Porous, and they are white like this, and you can put over the table, and you say, "Ha!" and the brick breaks. Because and that's all. And appear the face of the bricks like an unsuspect surfaces. That. And it's not the problem normally, because the how can I say that? Austeridad. How can I say austeridad? Un tiempo. Okay, austeridad. Austerity. Can I say austerity? Austerity. It's a word in English. Okay. To make austerity, you must need to use the material not like a secondary process of build. You must need to use the material in the best inertia moment to support everything. You can live. You can lose. You can use the marks or for example, a beam of concrete, 2 columns of concrete, and inside a wall only to close the space. You need to use the capacity of the bricks to support exactly the same thing. Leaving the bricks in. Imagine the bricks in another way, not in the Occidental way. Normally, you first have all the structure and then appear all the closed materials. No, you need to produce one integrated relation of all of the materials working in structural means. If you use this, you make the austerity, the real austerity, because you demand the material, the best condition to support the human life, to support the opportunities for the people. And in the main office of the Unilever headquarters in Asuncion, they don't have an entire brick, only broken bricks, and some lamps and silly things like this, humble experience like this. Okay, the last facade. And you use the tube, the plastic tube, using a machete. How can I say a machete? Machete, and you make the gargolas, the plastic gargolas like this, and silly things like this. And for example, for the roof, originally we can use here, sorry, beton is petroleum lamina, how can I say, with aluminium and asphalt, can say, asphalt and aluminium, and all of the roof looks like the office of Andy Warhol in New York, full of shades, of bright, sorry. And it's very awful. And we use, for example, the ceramic tiles over this only to protect the, sorry, this is a sun. A smiling sun now. To produce here shadows to protect all our, how can I say that? Isolation system of humidity and to keep cool the interior and other things. Okay. All of this made it by this new kind of thing, the possibility of use bricks. I really, between one works and another, we spend time with other works, but I only show you some particulars. It's impossible to show each little step, humble steps, but I make some jumps. Okay. Okay. This is my mother's house. For that, it's special for me. But we have a problem there because we are 7 brothers and sisters. And when we grow, my mother wants to everyone have his own house, his own family, and my mother goes to living alone. But 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, the sister of my mother was kidnapped. And we paid twice the, how can I say that, rescate? Ransom. The ransom. We paid twice. And my uncle, my tia, my uncle disappeared. And that changed everything in our life. My mother don't want to live more alone and choose one of my daughters to live with. And we buy a lot beside the house of another of my sisters. And my intelligent brother come to live with my mother. My intelligent brother who's never married. For that, it's the intelligent brother. And, sorry. Okay, to do this, imagine every single Saturday eating milanesas. Milanesas is marinade meat, fried marinade meat. The very close circle of the family. 15 grand people and 25 grandchilds. That's the close circle of people. We need a space for receive 15 adults and 25, how can I say that, crying people. No, it's, ¿cómo se dice gritar? Screamly people. Yes, that. And for that, my mother needs one big space in the inside. We made two Weidendel beans, this and this, separate 11 meters between one and another, and we produce these transversal beams. And for that, if you see here, this is the Weidendel beam, this is the other Weidendel beam, and this is the transversal beam. And with the counterbalance, we reduce this height of the most important beam. In the other sense, here, I can show you here. This is the Vierendeel beam. This is the other Vierendeel beam. This is the transversal beam. And if you separate here from here, A, this is not A. This is not A. And for that, we need more weight. Here come from the height of the roof, and here hang the above working on tension. Finally, here is the space for all the family together. This is the space for my mother. This is the place for my sister. And this is the place for my intelligent brother. And we made a very rustic formwork. And because when you use poor materials, you can produce exactly a perfect curve. But over this flat of wood, we put sand. And we, how can I say, peinar? We comb the sand and make exactly the right curve and put the bricks over the sand. And for that, we use here the diagonal to have 1 more centimeter of height of inertia. Can you understand? If you put only like this, then like this, you have 1 centimeter more because you use the diagonal. And that's why we use all of this and put the slab like this. And we use, for example, a very liquid concrete. It's for evident use water through the concrete, because when you use a lot of water, can appear the fissures, because the contraction, when the water goes, appear and for that it's for evident use a very liquid mortar. But if you think in the condition of our bricks, very healthy bricks, and under you have sand, you put the very liquid mortar there, and the sand and the instantaneously, how can I say that? Instantaneously, they keep the water and conserve the process of the curation time of the mortar between one brick and another, and it's perfect to cover the steel. You can make all the not permitted process only to produce new opportunities, only to develop opportunities. And you can use the similar way for the walls. And when over the upper level of the Vierendeel beam, you can open the space. And now the space has 14 meters in this sense and 21 in this other, like this. And we start to prefabricate not only pieces of walls, we start to produce some forms like these empty cubes. And when we have this,